not good at this shit.
And then you just delete the VOD just because. How does that?
Oops, you don't fuck up ever, Toaster, right?
Did you just not want him on the show? Is that what it was? You were ashamed of him?
Bell of Aqua? No, that was a fire show. I was like, I turned myself in immediately and begged for forgiveness, and I got forgiveness.
Speaking of forgiveness,
to cover it up. They wanted me to cover it up, Toaster.
Speaking of forgiveness and fire shows, hello, welcome. This is our surprise episode, like we often have. 3 grandmas watching the picture box. I'm here with the Todd father of Toddcasting, the Todd and only Pragpro. Pragpro, hello. And our special guest this week, we have WhatsupCatsup, also known as Toaster. Hello, Toaster.
Also known as Hot Dog.
Also known as Hot Dog.
So I'm the third grandma.
Are you like work for Wiener Schnitzel, or is this like a corporate tie-in or something? Am I supposed to know about 2-for-1 French fries or something?
I had Wiener Schnitzel the other day. Pretty good.
How was it?
It was still good. Still good.
Was it? I feel like their dogs are too salty over there. I had Wiener Schnitzel at the end of my block for growing up. They used to have
regular
fire
dogs
food.
are really salty.
They had a Hawaiian burger that I used to really enjoy. I used to enjoy the Hawaiian burger. They don't have it anymore.
No. Toaster, would you like to tell us your Wiener Schnitzel order?
Yeah, what's your Wiener Schnitzel order?
I've never had a Wiener Schnitzel before. Does that make me a fake hot dog? I never had a Wiener Schnitzel before.
Do they have like Papaya King? What do they have in New Orleans? Where do you get a glizzy in New Orleans? Do you get a Papaya King or something like that?
Do you call it glizzies?
We're not a hot dog city. We're not a glizzy city.
Because you have better sausages, right? Hot wings.
We have po' boys. We have gumbo. There's no room for hot dogs here.
I like that.
Do you have a jambalaya? Is that a thing?
Jambalaya.
Yeah, okay.
Inaraya.
I did not like that. I did not like that one. Now, before we move on, I think I need to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Toaster.
I'm trying to lose weight.
What, besides that, I've always wondered on your person, the very bottom of you, is that a piece of hot dog poop that's just not coming out, or what is that?
That's my belly button.
What's your belly button?
Yeah. If you untie
that's
it,
an anus.
Fill out.
No, that's not where belly buttons go. That would go at the bottom of the grill mark. And that's an anus.
Well, that's where they tie everything up when I'm born. That's a belly button.
Oh, okay.
How are you supposed to shit if they tie your anus up?
That's why it's not my anus.
That's not it. It's not his butt.
The anus is under the bun. I keep that covered.
What do you do on Twitch, little friend?
So
what do you do on Twitch, Toaster? Let's get to know Toaster.
What do you do on Twitch?
Yeah, this is the part of the show where we introduce the guests, and actually maybe we should wait till there's people in the stream if they. Tell me about yourself, Toaster.
1 second.
Tell me about myself.
Yeah.
Do it for the VOD. You'd be surprised how many people we have in chat right now. You'd be surprised. We're doing good.
I'm just your average dude, I like cool TV shows. I like jamming out to some tunes. I like smoking weed, 420 every day.
Don't. Are you little body shake?
I'm blazing right now. You're probably going to hear me blazing since there's no fucking noise cancellation on this weird ass website you got me on.
You're going to hear him typing, closing doors, and blazing it.
You're going to know as soon as I tune out to the conversation because I'm going to be typing and playing.
Me rubbing my face right now. This is what I do when I'm anxious.
He gets uncomfortable. He's going to get up and leave. You'll hear the door close.
Once I felt like Prague has interrupted me enough, I'm just going to check out and then I'll start typing. You'll hear.
So about 5 minutes in.
What happens. Yeah.
I would love to show you guys what it's like when Prague does not operate in the show and see how much dead space there is, and watch you guys just fucking.
I wish there was like a middle ground. I wish you had like a middle ground where you didn't interrupt every second.
I'm working on it. Don't you think I know that?
All or nothing.
I'm not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
It's cut every word off, or he just complete silence.
Because you talk too fucking slow, and I already know what you're going to say. So I'm like, let's go. I know what you're going to say. Put a period on, and then I'm going to just finish your answer for you, and then add a better answer. Right?
What am I going to say right now?
You can talk about.
So we're going to talk about
the DH rule
Severance.
and how you want to get rid of the DH rule.
We should get rid of it, honestly.
See, I know you. See,
I wasn't going to say that, but we should get rid of it.
What was going to say?
Bring back the pitchers hitting. I love it.
Toaster doesn't like sports.
So we're here to talk about Severance. What is that? 22 Apple show.
The animated series, right?
Animated series, right? By DreamWorks. Co-produced by Arnold Polanski.
We always shout out Roman every show. Hi, Roman. I hope you're doing okay. Love.
Is Roman Polanski your favorite director? Toaster.
Wait, what? Oh, sorry, I had double audio.
Jesus fucking
This
Christ.
is a talk show. Stop playing fucking. What are you playing? Gortlets over there?
No, I'm testing the audio, making sure everything's okay.
I'll let you know if there's a problem. Tell us about your favorite directors.
Everything's okay.
Okay, all right.
Tell us about your favorite directors.
My favorite director?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just tell us about your entertainment, like your movies that you like, things that you like in cinema,
what kind of TV
you
shows
don't
do you
like.
watch? Yeah. Let us know.
Give me, come on.
Y'all ever heard of a TV show called Severance?
May have. Perhaps.
Are we going? So we're doing like a get to know Toaster before we go into the review. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, it's a talk show.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sure. Well, usually most of the stuff that I watch I don't like. I'm very picky.
Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
I'm the kind of guy that if the whole show is good and one thing happens that doesn't make sense, I trash the whole show and I say it sucks.
I love that.
Yeah. Because it's just like be consistent, Maybe you get like one pass. That like hence Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Can we talk about Game of Thrones for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Have we done a Game of Thrones review on this channel yet?
Yeah, if it's in the context of direction that you like and context of shows and programs that you prefer.
Well, because that's the show that went from being the best show in the world to being the worst show in the world.
Season 4.
At what point was it the best show in the world?
1, 2, and 3.
Season 4 peaked.
Peaks, yeah.
Interesting.
Season 5 was like still manageable, and then it freaking dipped into
they really took a header.
6, 7.
I love that show too, and I tend to agree with your assessment. Have you watched House of Dragons?
I'm not even gonna bother.
It's good. I like it better.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So I have a question.
He doesn't believe it.
Am I allowed to? So when I do talk about Game of Thrones, am I allowed to say?
You can say whatever you want.
Am I allowed to split it up? Say like,
yeah, this is the definitive Game of Thrones.
Say whatever you want.
You can.
Okay.
There's no rules here.
Who's your favorite character on Game of Thrones in the first 3 or 4 seasons? The seasons you like. Like, who are you rooting for?
Who do you think is my favorite character? I'm gonna do the same for you guys too.
King Joffrey, because that's who you remind me of.
Yeah, you know me. You know me too well.
My guys.
He's a Joffrey head.
I'm a Toddcaster, and I know my guys.
Yeah.
I like Brienne of Tarth a lot. I feel like she's fucking OP. I like when she fought that bear.
I was gonna try to guess. Okay, let me try to guess times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna guess Varys.
I don't know who that is.
He's never
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
You've never seen Game of Thrones?
I watched the first season and I thought it was very okay.
And that was kidding pussy ass shit. Like
very okay.
We gotta get this guy out. Oh my
God. He doesn't
God.
like that kind of stuff.
He
doesn't like Dungeons and Dragons. He's not a fantasy guy. That makes him based.
You don't like Lord of the Rings?
No, I don't like Lord of the Rings.
Don't mention it. What are you going to do when Lance has this 20-hour Lord of the Rings marathon? I want you to watch it with us.
Is he going to do that?
Yeah, and then we're going to review it.
All right. That's
in a 15-hour 3 Grandmas episode.
Jesus Christ.
Do you have a favorite director, though? I'll wrap this part up, and then we'll move to the review of the actual thing we're here for. Do you have a favorite director or movie, or like something like this is the movie that I judge everything else by? Like I like The Exorcist.
Well, my 3. I've always loved Boogie Nights. I've always loved The Clockwork Orange. There's a Western I like called Once Upon a Time in the West, the old Western from Sergio Leone.
Yeah,
I love those movies. I like a lot of movies. I don't like to. It's really hard for me to rate movies. I don't know.
Sick.
It's
You're
not
at the right place then.
I've seen
because we don't ever do that here.
Hard for you to rate them.
Yeah, well, it's actually
you just rate them wrong.
My letterbox is still a work in progress because I'm transferring over because I used to use this other obscure website that no one knows about called Critiker to rate all of my movies. I got so sick and tired of everyone being like, "What the fuck is that?" Use Letterboxd. So I'm finally starting to transfer all.
You had to move them over, yeah.
Letterboxd, yeah.
Did you take all afternoon to do that too?
It's like a work in progress.
I don't even try that kind of thing. Do you like Paul Thomas Anderson in general, or do you prefer that movie that he made?
I actually don't like a lot of his more recent movies. I like Boogie Nights. I like Hard 8. I kind of like Magnolia.
Yeah. Licorice Pizza?
Was that?
It's a newer movie that got nominated for an Oscar that he directed. It's funny. It's comedy.
It probably sucks.
I enjoyed it. Have you seen Phantom Thread?
I haven't bothered watching that. It looks boring. I just know.
It's good. It's one of my. It's my favorite.
I have the sense.
What did you give The Dark Knight?
Yeah, rate The Dark Knight right now. Chapter 1?
No,
That's the first one, right?
No,
Rate the
second,
trilogy and then
second
rate
movie.
each
What did I
movie.
give it? What did I give it?
What did you get? I think you get like a 3 or something.
Yeah, I gave 3. That's pretty low. I probably gave it like a 5 out of 10. That's
See?
my guess.
This guy's crazy.
That's
For the
what I
whole
would do.
trilogy or just the first
No,
film?
the second movie. The Dark Knight.
The second movie. Yeah, let's go movie by movie.
It's long.
The first one was a 9. The second one was a 7. And the last one was a 6.
You thought,
But I give the whole series a 9 because I like the whole thing. Does that make
second
sense?
one, first one is about a 7. The second one is a 9, and the third one is a 7, probably.
That's close enough. Mark Scout, who works in Lumen Industries' Macrodata Refinement Division, discovers he is being promoted to department head in light of coworker Petey's sudden departure. His first task is to orientate Helly, the replacement, who wakes up in the conference room with no memory of who or where she is. After giving a orientation and learning her name, she demands she's allowed to leave, but finds she's unable to do so. Then she sees a video explaining that she has undergone the severance procedure, which split her memories to create a version of herself that will only exist inside the workplace. The outside version of Mark, a former professor grieving his wife's death and living in the Lumen subsidized town of Kier, encounters a man claiming to be Petey, who gives him a letter with a cryptic instruction. Mark returns home and interacts with his neighbor, Mrs. Selvig, unaware that she is his boss, senior manager Harmony. And that's how we begin.
When did you guys watch this movie? Or this series?
I watched it when it came out, and then I have been like dipping in and out all week to try to like get reacclimated with the plot.
So I did this intentionally. I only watched the first 4 episodes because I know there's going to be someone out there that only watched the first 4 episodes and they want someone to relate to.
What the fuck
I'm
are
here
you
for
doing
that.
here?
I'm
then?
here for that.
What?
For those people. I'm here for those people who only watched the first 4 episodes.
You
and they're
said
like,
you watched the whole show before.
Yeah, well, people say things.
Oh my god,
You're lucky JC's not here right now because he would end the show.
that is
No, okay. Look, I was just doing a bit. I watched the show when it came out, and then I recently started rewatching it. But I only made it's episode 4 of my rewatch.
The rewatch was 4 episodes. Okay.
So post episode 4, I'm very rusty.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about the actors? Let's talk about Adam Scott. Parks and Recreation he was on.
Step
I don't
Brothers.
like Parks and Recreation.
Okay. Do you like Adam
Parks and Rec
Scott?
is awesome.
I love that show. I think it was very
Parks and
funny
Rec
when
is
it came
great,
out.
yeah.
I think it's just an Office clone.
I don't think so.
No, because there's good jokes. They have better. I mean, Aubrey Plaza.
The jokes are easy.
You think Aubrey Plaza is a joke?
look.
Because she's no fucking joke, my guy.
Now look, if Aubrey Plaza wasn't, I'd be totally trashing it right now. But Aubrey Plaza is saving it a little bit.
She does that.
I think it was pitched, and maybe the first season was kind of billed as like an Office clone, but after that, it's its own thing. I think.
A lot of big actors in that, right? You have the guy who plays the superhero guy. What was that? Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I don't know. It just feels so fake.
And then regular
Chris Pratt is my favorite unlock.
Yeah. And Joe Biden was actually in it too. Fun
President
fact.
Biden.
Current president. Yeah.
Adam Scott. What else has he been in recently?
He was in Step
He
Brothers.
was
That's not
in
recent, but
Aviator. He was in Party Down. He was in Big Little
Step
Lies.
Brothers.
He was in The Good
Step Brothers.
Place.
Step Brothers is one of my favorite comedy
Step
movies of
Brothers.
all time.
You
It's one
do?
of my favorite comedies.
Yeah, we got to review that. Make sure that we make a special engagement to review Step Brothers.
You know what? I just watched like a compilation of his best moments from that movie, and it's so good. He's so goddamn funny.
He's underrated, isn't he?
He's completely underrated. Yeah.
As like a straight man, but with good timing and yeah. I mean,
I actually saw a little interview too about him, just real quick about Step Brothers, and he had said that a lot of the movie was improv, and he's not really an improv guy, so it was like a real struggle for him, but he was able to pull it off.
John Turturro as Irving Balliff, Mark's severed coworker who is a stickler for company policy and is drawn to Bert, played by Christopher Walken. Excuse me, I'm so gassy today, guys. I don't know what to tell you. What do you guys think about Turturro and Walken's love affair in this show?
A little too gay for me.
Okay, too gay. What do you think, Hot Dog? Not gay
keep
enough.
Keep that off the screen. I don't want my kids watching that stuff.
Right? Yeah.
I wish there was more physicality between the two. Like I would have preferred to see Turturro and Walken perform a lovemaking scene in every episode, like in the
Season 2.
bathroom.
Might get season 2. You never know.
Yeah, just like there's a show called Strangers with Candy that used to be on Comedy Central, and there's a scene where Colbert and his buddy, like, there's a scene where he goes into the outdoor restroom and they smash all the lights out, and they make sweet love at the urinals, and that's what I wanted to see from Walken. But John Turturro is great. I mean, we all know
there's a
about him.
ghost.
There's a ghost.
There he goes.
What does a ghost look like?
Look at the uncanny valley of his character model is just so creepy when he's not there.
It doesn't matter because, that's why I like to have people on screen, because it's like, all right, so he was in Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, a longtime Spike Lee associate, Barton Fink, where he won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival, The Big Lebowski, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Fearless, Quiz Show, Gloria Bell, Transformers film series 2007-2017, picking up that fat check. And he was in The Batman, too.
He was in The Batman, yeah. He was Carmine Falcone, I think.
Okay, I'm back.
He's the brother of Monk. It's like he's never stopping working.
He's in everything.
He's never stopping working.
Yeah. He's the Jesus.
Do you like hot dog? Do you like John Turturro?
Yeah, wait, were y'all just talking about what he's in? Because
yes, we talked about a lot about that.
I'm trying to think, because besides the obvious Big Lebowski, like what is he in? I feel like I've seen him in something that was really good besides this and that.
Is your headphones plugged in? Let me go over the list again. Here we go. He was in all those Spike Lee joints to begin with. Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Clockers.
Haven't seen any of those.
He was in Miller's Crossing. He was in Barton Fink. He won The Big Lebowski.
Seen it. Great.
Brother, Where Art Thou?
He was in that. What was he in that? Who was he?
He was one of the Soggy Bottom Boys.
One of the main characters.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
It's like he asked me to be on this show 2 times. It's not like I had to rope him in and like beg him to be here. He's like, when am I getting on the show?
I love movies. I that's all I do.
Love movies.
Watch movies all the time.
I wanted to pick the movie. I'm getting bombarded.
You'll get to pick the movie when you fucking earn the right to pick the movie. You don't just get to pick the movie off jump. You
told me you treat your guests. You said you treat your guests like royalty here.
You're my fucking partner. You're not my guest. Quiz Show, Fearless, Gloria Bell. He plays the brother of Monk, and his brother is a freak. And if you want to see a funny podcast, watch The Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Diaz and his John Turturro's brother. I think it's like Jim Turturro or something. He is a character, and they go off and they tell stories for like 4 hours straight about back east. It's nuts. And then Christopher Walken. You know who Christopher Walken is, right, Toaster?
You ever have that where there's someone like you think is cool or you like or you're friends with, and you find out they have a brother and their brother is just way cooler than them, and you just want to drop that person for their brother?
Every day.
Dude, that happens to me a lot.
That's what's going to happen to me when you guys meet my cool brothers.
He
was in The Deer Hunter, Christopher Walken. He was in Catch Me If You Can. He was in The Dogs of War, Brainstorm, The Dead Zone, A View to a Kill, Close Range, Biloxi Blues, King of New York, Comfort of Strangers, Batman Returns, True Romance. This is Christopher Walken now. Pulp Fiction, Prophecy.
Nicholas Turturro?
Yes, Nicholas Turturro.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and check out the Church of What's Happening podcast with Nicholas Turturro. There's a couple epis, and they just get fucking obliterated and talk shit for 4 hours. You could never make a show like that anymore. It's the best podcast ever made, by the way.
What was the Christopher Walken movie?
Do a Christopher Walken voice.
What's the one where he's in with the aliens?
Joe Dirt.
I mean, there's a lot here. I mean, what year? He was in Dune Part 2. You know what I mean?
Was he?
He's in a lot. Yeah, that's what they're telling me over here. Comfort of Strangers. What year? Give me an age range, because he's been cooking since the 70s, since his appearance in, of course, The Deer Hunter, which was phenomenal. Have you seen The Deer Hunter, Toaster?
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty cool. Hold on, I have to mute so I can type and find out this movie.
What? Do your Christopher Walken accent, Toaster?
That is a terrible Christopher accent.
It's terrible. I can't find it right now. Toaster, you have one?
You need to get the Diners guy. Peppercini knows who I'm talking about. That does the Christopher Walken impression on Twitch.
I don't know who that is.
The Dine-In Peppercini.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
This guy's a genius. This guy's a character genius. This guy is a professional impressionist.
He has a walk-in?
He
He
calls
has a
into
really good
Leslie
walk-in.
sometimes.
Yeah.
He has a walk-in. He does Rick and Morty from Rick and Morty.
I've never heard him perform any of these accents. I would be more interested in him if I heard them. That sounds interesting to me. The other content I get from him is not as very interesting.
Okay.
Do you have a Christopher Walken time?
I don't think so.
Try it.
I'm trying to think of what line he said. These flowers, the flowers were all wrong. The flowers.
Yeah,
How's that?
Flowers. That's right. Now you got it. These flowers are all wrong. This office is too complicated. Yeah. See, I lost it again. I can't do it.
That's not bad, right? Was that bad?
No, I think you nailed
good.
it. In fact, if I was having you play a character right now, it would be Christopher Walken. You did it.
Communion
And you said yourself you couldn't, and that's why I want you to push through it.
Thank you.
And you found it.
That. You know what? You believed in me when I didn't. Thank you.
Every day. Every goddamn day. That's all I do is believe in my boys and my girls and try to keep rocking and mushing this sled down the fucking digital slope.
Is there a boys hierarchy?
Yeah, I'm number 1, and everyone else isn't 2 and below.
Are you ever afraid that
I'm the leader, right? I'm the team leader.
Are you ever afraid that the ones under you are gonna like team up and like?
I hope they do. Yeah. No, because if you're an alpha, you're waiting for that day and you're salivating for it. I'm gonna cook all of you. If you try it, go ahead, please.
You'll have.
I'll make an example out of you.
You got to come for the king.
I hope you do. All right, Patricia Arquette.
Come on.
You don't want to talk about Patricia Arquette?
I don't even know who this person is.
All right, let's go down the list. Toaster, you're never being on the show again.
I thought you watched the show.
Pepper and Sheeny, get ready for your appearance because next time I'll call on you. True Romance, 1993. Ed Wood, Flirting with Disaster, Lost Highway, The High-Low Country, Bringing Out the Dead, Holes. She was in Holes. Boyhood. Was she the
lady in Holes?
She's the blonde lady. She's the boss lady.
The boss lady
with the holes.
I would love to tell everyone about Fargo season 5, where she is amazing. She got nominated for Emmy for that. She was phenomenal, and also Escape from Dan Mora, which was also directed by Ben Stiller. Have you seen that time or Toaster?
I have not.
Okay, you got to see that. That's better than a lot of.
What is it called? What is it called?
It's called Escape at Dannemora from 2018. And it's a prison. It's a true story about these guys who broke out of prison in the New York upper state, and she plays like the prison guard that gets manipulated by the prisoner. It's phenomenal. So we love.
Quick question. Can you hear me chewing? Because I'm eating these cookies right now.
No.
Okay, good. Because I don't know what the noise. There's no noise cancellation. So
now I'm interested. What kind of cookies do you have?
Pecan sandies. I got 2 more left.
Good. I love a pecan sandy. My mama loved a pecan sandy. I like how there's that little salt flavor in a shortbread cookie that you get. You get that little salt flavor, right? Mm-hmm. And then do you have milk with that?
I'm drinking my coffee with it, black coffee.
Okay, that'll work. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Does anyone go to Costco? Anyone here go to Costco?
No.
Because Greg?
There's a Costco in Goleta, and you have to drive a bit to get there.
Okay.
And when I get there, I go fucking crazy, and like there's a big bill at the end, right? But yeah, I don't go there enough.
Sometimes. Well, just next time you go, keep an eye out for their almond danishes. You gotta get these. You gotta try.
I'm allowed to have that because my macaroni tits will get fatter and fluffier, and I'll float away.
You don't ever treat yourself? No treats?
No, when you hit 50, there's no more treats. There's only work and staying ahead of the pain. Every day I wake up and I feel like I got thrown down a stairwell. My whole body hurts. My knee hurts.
Energy from. That's
my
where you
neck hurts. Yeah, because I can't rest because I'm so in pain that I have to keep fucking like a shark.
That's wonderful.
Do you have any pain?
So yeah.
What hurts for you? Your knees? Your back? Tell me when you wake up.
My back.
What's the first announcement? It's usually my neck.
It's my neck. Yeah, my neck. 100%.
Everyone do these. You got to do your wall stretches. You got to get over here.
Never do those.
You got it because it's going to save you. You're going to be shocked at how hard they are to do because you've been neglecting it. And then when you actually start doing it right, you're going to really like the way you feel as far as your upper back.
The thing I do, and subconsciously I do it, and it ruins my fucking sleep in my neck, is I'll be sleeping and then I'll slowly raise my hands up and I'll fall asleep like this.
Yeah.
Like above me. And then all of a sudden I just feel a hand on my arm pulling it down and it's flame.
Oh, that's
just
so
waking
cute.
up going like, put your hands down. And I'm like, what?
That's your John Turturro.
That's my John Turturro, yeah. I'm Christopher Walken. He's my John Turturro. That's right.
All right. Let's get back to season Severance. So we opened up the season. What did you guys think?
Season Severance.
Severance season 1. We went over some of the main characters. There's some other characters. Do you want to talk about any of the other actors? Yeah.
I have a funny way or introduction for this show. So I didn't know anything about the show at all. Like I didn't see it on any ads, just nothing. And I remember when I was working at my job that I'm currently at for like a year straight, every day I would come in at like 4 a.m. every day, and I'd come in and I walk in, and right there
Late to work.
in the front door, wait till it was early, there'd be a wall of TVs, and on that TV was always a bunch of commercials, a bunch of different things, whatever, promoting whatever. And one of the things that was playing, which you'll see later in the show if you watch it, is the dance scene, where they're all dancing and the lights are all different colors, whatever. And I'm like, what the hell is this show? And I saw it every time. I didn't know what it was. I was like,
Why
oh
is
shit,
there
it's
so many
Adam Scott.
fucking TV? What is going on at your work? They have a bunch of TVs that are promoting shit. What's
We
going
sell
on?
TVs.
Is that normal?
We sell TVs, yeah.
You sell TV? Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
There's TVs
That
there,
makes
yeah.
sense now.
So I would constantly see it, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I never looked in the corner to see that it's a Severance, whatever. I just kept, whatever. And then one day, as I was going to my car, I stopped at the TV and I was watching it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I look, and then I see the character Helly, Britt Lauer,
yeah.
Lauer, and I was like, wait, I know that girl. And there is a short video, I think it's about 10 minutes long, on YouTube. It's called, what is it called again? It's called How to Lose Weight in 4 Easy Steps.
Huh.
It is one of
share
the
it?
best videos. No, not right now. One of the
I mean,
best.
we can do that. We do have the possibility to share things.
It's one of the best things I've seen online. It's a short comedy type sketch, I guess. It has Beck Bennett in it, who was on SNL. He's in a bunch of different comedy things. She's in it. Conan O'Brien is in it. It's a whole thing. It's fantastic. And I remember seeing her on that sketch and falling in love with her because I was like, man, she's cute. Love her.
Why did you think she's got? Okay.
How dare you? First of all, how dare you? How dare you?
I didn't. I don't know.
How dare you?
She looks like a Muppet to me.
She's not,
is that bad?
How dare you? How dare you?
Her eyebrows are crazy.
No,
I mean, I know that we went through an eyebrow period. We went through an eyebrow period. Here, let me mute this. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have that going.
So I saw that, and then I went back home, and I was like, Flame, we have to watch a show. I think you might like it. So we watched a trailer for it.
Wait, so you could perv on Britt Lauer? That's why you told your wife?
That wasn't why. It just looked cool. I watched the trailer myself. Cool. I thought it was cool. And I showed it to her. And she's finding all this new information out right now. She's watching this. So she's going to slap
She's going to leave you after this episode.
If this is what it takes, cool. I did it.
You and Britt Lauer.
Me and Britt Lauer, that's it, yeah.
She played Animal on The Muppet Show. Did you know that?
She did not play. No, she did not.
Look at her. Look at them side to side.
We watched the trailer, and then we started watching the show, and we fell in love with it right away because it's a fucking crazy premise for a show.
Toaster, that was it. How did you encounter Severance for the first time? See, look right here. See, this is Animal, and this is Britt Lauer.
Did you just type her name in Animal?
Yeah, Partey, and then Britt Lauer. It's the same fucking guy. What do you mean no? Look,
you're crazy. Animal is my Flame. Shut the fuck. She's laughing. I get her in the back.
Are there any videos? How did you discover Severance, Toaster?
Can you turn my echo cancellation off?
Nope. You can do that yourself. It's right in the fucking thing. Right hand side.
It's messing up with my it's messing my audio quality.
You sound fine.
You sound great. You sound a lot better than most of our guests.
Wow, why is it on though? It says for best quality audio, they should wear headphones and turn echo cancellation off.
Yeah, do that.
I have my headphones on.
He can't.
Hey, look, you see this little guy over here on where it says toaster and it has echo cancellation. There's a button here. It's where you're.
Yeah, I can't click it. It's grayed out.
Are you using your PC?
Yeah, I think it might have been like you're like the you're the leader in the group, so you have to do it.
No, I can't.
He can't turn off.
I'm not the leader. JC's the leader. Only you can. Maybe. I guess you're gonna have echo. Maybe you have to do it before the stream starts.
Yeah, it's once the stream starts. Yeah.
Well, it was off at first, and then someone turned it on. So I don't know. I think that's on you, Prag.
Bullshit to me.
I think that's on you.
And someone turned it on.
Someone turned it on.
See, that's what you have to know about us. Time Goes to Waste. We're both the youngest of 3 brothers, and there's a 10-year gap.
I wanted to tell a lovely story about how I found this show, and then it's been derailed.
Go ahead, please continue.
And now we're I'm done. But now we're watching a video about fucking Animal.
Wait,
Britt Lauer
And
and,
then the guy that
Matthew
plays
and Scott, whatever his name is.
the
That's
guy that
those,
plays
that's the
fucking-
show. That's Severance. This is Severance.
Peppercini in the chat says, Toaster, they gave everyone 10 free chests in the bazaar.
Did you know
Because
that?
there was a patch today in the bazaar, so I gotta open my chests. Anyone who plays bazaar,
I have not played Bazaar
check your
yet.
chests.
You can't open packs during the show, bro.
Oh, I agreed to do this. I don't really do.
He asked me to do this. He thinks he's hilarious. That's part of the other problem.
I don't know who to blame more, you or Torsten.
Ditchin Lockman. Everyone's going crazy about Ditchin Lockman, who plays the what how would you talk about her as like the severe office assistant?
Doesn't
She's like the therapist. Yeah,
she's like a soft spot though, right? So she like is portrayed early on as like harsh and severe, but then doesn't she open up in the later episodes that I haven't seen in a long time? What's her arc?
she doesn't have an arc.
Why isn't this playing right now? I have to fix something. Can you guys share? It's not sharing on the. Oh, it's got this ding dong. All right, this is what I did. I fucked up. All right, keep talking about the character arc and the. What do you think of The Office? What do you think's going on in the show? First of all, what do you guys think is happening? Is it a dream? Is this like biologics? They're creating other bodies and putting them out there, or is it all psychological?
It's all happening in real time. What are you talking about?
What do you think? Do you think it's a metaphor? Do you look at it in that regard, or is it just it is what it is?
I mean, I think it's a real interesting play on how people separate or have the work version of themselves and then the private version. You could say the same thing with people in like their friends. When I go hang out with my friends, I'm not the same person around my friends that I am like with like my mom or like with Flame. I'm a completely different person.
Creepy as fuck.
That's not creepy. It's just how it is. What do you mean?
I'm just joking. No, I totally agree. I mean, we have different personas that we apply to the different roles of our life, depending on who we are with. Obviously, you're not the same with your mama as you are with your boys.
Yeah.
Also, I think it creates interesting questions about memory, because if there's like portions of your life that you don't remember, it's like you know how some people say that sometimes when they go into surgery, they're like actually like conscious, and like the stuff doesn't the anesthetics don't happen and they like feel it, but then they wake up and they forgot everything happened. So it's like you went through all that terrible experience, but you forgot it. So it's like, did it even happen?
Well, they kind of play with that same thing you're talking about, Toaster. In later in the series, when that girl, she had a baby, but they did the same exact thing. Like they're expanding the whole innie and outie thing with that guy's wife, where she was basically split. There's like a pregnant version of her, and then the post-pregnant version of her. Which is like, so one of them, like her, I guess her innie experienced the pregnancy and had all of that stuff that she had to deal with, and then her outie just woke up one day like, oh, here's a baby. I'm holding a baby now. Which is like, crazy.
A lot of people are saying this is influenced by Franz Kafka's book, The Trial.
Oh, it is.
And one of the parallels are their severed workers also have similar names to the main characters of the book, like Joseph K in the first name initial only, like Mark S and Helly R. There's the theme of unknowingness. The workers don't really know what they're performing at the computer and don't know what their duties really are, what the end game is. That's the same thing that happened to Joseph K in The Trial. And the overall critique toward the bureaucratic world resembling lumens is very much like all Franz Kafka. You guys know anything about Franz Kafka?
No.
Toaster? You want to get in there on this Kafka business? Do you want to compare Metamorphosis and Severance? It's a surrealist. It's about human transformation when they engage with society and institutionalized working program.
You know what also makes me? It makes me think of alien abductions too. It's like,
okay, tell me about that.
You go to sleep every night. You could be the whole human race could be being like monitored by aliens, and when we go to sleep is when they abduct us and they erase our memory with their little memory erase flash sticks. And that could be there's an infinite number of hypothetical scenarios that could be happening that we just forget about.
So in that scenario, the memories are being erased, but in this scenario, they're just being walled off.
Right. So they're aware of it in this scenario, which makes it kind of more torturous in a way.
Yeah, because at some point in the show, they're able to, I guess, for lack of a better term, cross over, and experience the opposite life, I guess. But that's not really like a thing with like alien abductions yet, at least as far as I know. So
Right,
who's to say that people getting abducted by aliens, their minds, like maybe their mind isn't being erased because they just don't know how to perceive it. Maybe it is being walled off, and they haven't unlocked that part of their brain yet.
Or they're using clones, right? They're growing clones, and they keep them, they keep them separated. And perhaps this is what will happen in the future.
Are they sending the clones back down then?
Yeah, who's the clone and who's the real person?
Who's keeping where's the original at?
Okay. So there's that whole thing, but then also something that worries me about watching the show is everyone here watched Lost, right?
I love Lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lost was cool, but it was kind of cheap because they just like kept throwing in like stuff that was just weird and confusing, and you're just like, okay, that makes no sense, but it's really cool because it came out of nowhere. It's like in the show, what are the goats? What are they doing with the goats? But it's just like it's just really easy to get out of hand with it. That's all. I'm just saying that I'm scared.
Time, what do you think?
That's fair. He has a point. Where the story isn't finished yet.
The story's not finished yet. I'm just concerned.
So for you, would you rather have? I guess it's a personal thing. So would you rather have you, like, as you're watching the show, that any questions that come up in, or any mysteries that come up in season 1 that need to be dealt with by the end of season 1? Is that something that you would want?
I want, whenever they like throw like remember the scene with the goats. I'm bringing up the goats because that's the most recent like weird thing that happened that I saw was and you're like, oh my god, what are they doing with these goats, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they just like never mention the goats again? And that was just like because they could theoretically just throw anything at us, and we're like, whoa, because it's just the nature of the show is like, what are they doing? It's mysterious.
They could have had an idea for the goats, and it means something, and then something happens, and they write themselves in a corner where the goats don't mean anything, and then it's dropped.
Mm-hmm. And then it just comes across as cheap, as like a cheap gimmick. You threw in something weird. Just
you know what Dostoevsky would say? He would say this is a battle between free will and the concept of nihilism, which theorizes that no life has purpose and everything is predetermined. And maybe the goat situation was a predetermined set piece that was always going to happen regardless of the actions of the puppets or the players, the clones or non-clones. Do you guys like existential discussions? Do you believe in free will, or do you believe that everything's kind of like laid out no matter what you do?
I believe in.
You think you can change the world? Do you think your actions are affecting reality, or do you think that no matter what you do, it's kind of?
I think
you just have to go through it.
Your personal reality, but I think as a whole, you pretty much have no effect on anything else.
Okay, Toaster.
Wait, what was the question?
Oh my God.
Do you believe in free? Do you think that your actions have an effect on the world and outcomes, or do you think that outcomes are more predetermined, like a nihilist would think?
Wait, those are
existentialism versus nihilism.
Those are two different questions.
No, because that's what an existentialist thinks, that they have.
My actions have an effect on the world, but I don't necessarily like believe in like.
Do they?
Hard free will. Well, yeah. If I do something, it's going to have an effect.
On the world?
But there's a butterfly effect.
Okay.
But I think everything that came before me is having an effect on me, and that's why I don't necessarily believe in like free will. But maybe there's like a spectrum of free will that I can kind of. There's an illusion of free will that I can get on board with. But
interesting.
What do I know at the end of the day?
You think that you deciding whether or not to go live tomorrow is going to affect something in the world?
Well, it's gonna have an effect.
But on the
But that's different than asking like.
do you think the effect only goes as far as you and what your reach is?
I mean, okay, so the effect on the world will probably be minuscule the more you
Mhm.
zoom out, but that's still an effect on the world.
Right.
But also,
Right.
like everything.
Like if he
has
decides to stream or not stream, it might affect me, and then I'll have a bad day, and then I'll smack Time Goes to Waste, and that'll affect things, and things will keep like domino effects.
Okay.
That kind of deal.
butterfly effect, Ashton Kutcher,
Yeah,
That's a
because
great movie.
great movie. Can
collective
we do butterfly
action
effect?
does have an effect, right? If multiple drones are doing different things in one direction, that's definitely going to pull events that transpire afterwards.
Yeah, but that's not the same as free will, though. That's what I'm wondering. Or
Well,
is there? What's the connection?
because this is what Dostoevsky says. Because he says that if it's a nihilistic world, then we should just all give up. But if it's an existential world where we have capacity to affect the world and do actions, then we should try. That's the difference. It's the difference between whether you give up and just sit in your shit, or if you try to like clean up the shit.
What's the state of just sitting there and just letting it all pass by? Which is like you're not giving up.
That's a good. I mean, it's because some
You know
people
what I mean?
like look at Walden, like Ralph Waldo Emerson. He
Mhm.
retreated to Walden Pond and just kind of did his own thing and created, managed the world he wanted in a very curated way, but then, didn't benefit from the other things that you can get from a society. So it's a reasonable direction to go either way, right?
That's mine.
You like that one?
Yeah.
I guess I feel like the decision to either be nihilistic or do stuff yourself.
Existential.
I don't think that's a free will decision, because I just think
Well,
you have
mhm.
your way of acting for a reason, and that was predetermined by other stuff. So if you're the kind of person that is going to be nihilistic, then you're going to be nihilistic. If you're the kind of person that's going to try, it's all based on your lived
Your
experience.
DNA, because it's the concept that you're born like that, right?
I
Genetics.
mean, it's not. I think it's like more lived experience than genetics, but I guess genetics play into it a little bit.
I have on the screen right now a show from BBC called The Prisoner from 1967. And a lot of the themes that are in Severance are also in this show, which is a really interesting show. It's always on PBS and stuff, but you can probably get it for free nowadays. So if you like Severance, check out The Prisoner as well from 1967. And this deals with a lot of the same themes, right? Whether it's important to fight against reality or to try to blend in with it. Like it's like if you're in a prison, are you trying to escape, or are you trying to make it the best situation you can and live the best life you can in the prison by creating rank and trying to get commissary and trying to be as comfortable as possible. Maybe you get a prison job, or are you trying to get the fuck out? And that's kind of the theme too. Because what does Helly do? What's her name? Helly? She eventually, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, but she says, I'm not going to stay here in this prison and just do what they want. I'm going to do what I need to do. And so she taps out in a scary way.
Are we trying to review the show without doing spoilers?
No,
Okay.
there's no, because it's been on for a year. We do full reviews. We can't worry about spoilers here. We have too much to talk about.
We have like a light buffer for a little bit, and then it goes into
Okay.
full spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So, what episode are we on?
One.
We started.
We're on episode 1.
You want to get to episode 2? Let's go. So episode 2 opens up and they introduce the characters and the concept of the show. And it's interesting that the Patricia Arquette, the boss, she's the boss at the job, and then she's the neighbor who's kind of like crazy. Like a how would you explain the character of the house version of Patricia Arquette? Like she's kind of wacky, right?
She's like the over, well, not overbearing, but like the nosy neighbor. Like constantly wants to know what you're doing. Is constantly looking outside the blind, see what's going on. She hears some wrestling. She checks it out.
And just to be clear, what's the name of the boss character in the show?
Harmony Coble.
Okay, there you go.
Harmony and Mrs. Selvig is the neighbor version. But Mrs. Selvig is Harmony playing the character of Mrs. Selvig, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because she's like monitoring Adam Scott.
She seems to be one of the few people that
She doesn't get severance. She's not
exists in
severed.
both worlds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
why
okay.
is she? But is it the same person in both worlds, or she doesn't know that she's being a boss during the day, or is she going to sleep at night? Is she a drone? It's like,
Well,
what is really happening?
my impression was she knows everything that's going on, but she's like playing this character of nosy neighbor so she can like monitor Adam Scott more closely.
Mhm.
Like she's acting dumb, basically. Is that
She's
wrong?
acting.
But
Maybe.
the way it comes off as is she's always monitoring him, but I mean, it seems like Adam Scott hasn't been a problem the entire time. So do they just foresee that he's gonna lash out?
Maybe they're getting concerned because there's the whole Petey thing, and they know they were close. Petey was close with him, so maybe they're like trying to preempt some kind of Petey interfering in the real world situation, which is happening.
Right. I mean, they did they say how long they've been doing the Severance initiative or whatever you want to call it? Because it could be this could be a cycle that's been playing out for like a bunch of times to where someone leaves, they get reintegrated into society, and they try to reach out or they try to get back and try to figure out some stuff. So when that happens, maybe that they're constantly monitoring who those people are like super close to, which is why they would have the boss right next to Adam Scott's character, because it's like, oh, Petey was like a friend of his.
Interesting.
What do you think, Pragpro?
I think they want us to keep guessing about what's really going on for the entirety of the show. So they're probably, if season 2 is probably going to have more mystery than resolution. And it's hard for me to tell whether this is a dream at work. Like maybe it's like the Matrix, where they're all in a tank or a tube, like their bodies are somewhere else, and this is all happening in the mind and using AI and quantum computing or something. It's hard to tell, but that's the point of the show, right? They want you to guess. The problem with Lost to me is that after the first couple seasons, they lost their way, and I wasn't crazy about how they resolved it. I feel like the network wanted a whole as 12 or 15 season or episode final season, and so they did a lot of like background story and stuff, which was cool, but I could see how people got distracted by it.
Well, yeah, they definitely wanted the show to continue for as long as they could, and then the creators just eventually said no, or the showrunners said no, we have to end this at some point. So they had an ending, but I think one of the biggest problems with Lost fans, I'm going to say, is that they forgot what they were watching. So you have this show with the island and the smoke monster and all these different things, which it could happen to Severance, because it kind of has like the same kind of similar thing. Is you're missing the point of the show. So Lost is a show about the characters, and people became way too transfixed on the answers to the island, their answers to the lore, the smoke monster, what's going on, like all this stuff. Which eventually you get answers for those, whether you like them or not. That's different. But the show is always about the characters, so I don't think they ended it poorly or anything. I think that show from start to finish is pretty amazing.
See, I think,
and I was happy with everything that they did.
I think you're right where it is about the characters. Like I want to see characters that I like in like crazy situations, and that's the fun part. The problem with Lost is they drag it out too long. Like it's so cool, then it starts to get old, then you're like, okay, wow, there's polar bears and weird shit. What's going on? Blah blah blah. Now there's magic. I feel like you have to figure out when to
reel it back in,
when to end it. You gotta feel.
Which I thought they did.
You just have to end it.
I thought they did everything.
I don't know.
Could argue
I
that
guess
they should have ended maybe a season earlier, but I think it was fine.
I like how they do shows in Britain where they write everything ahead, and if it's 3 seasons, it's 3 seasons, and that's it. There's no adding, there's no subtracting. They set the story, and it's 1 season, it's 2 seasons, and then we're done, no matter what. Otherwise, you get kind of this milking, right? They milk it,
right, and then it starts to get then it becomes like a money thing where it's like, oh, we could just keep going, we keep going.
Don't you think that boxes you in and you can't expand on stories that you would want to expand on?
I like a spin-off show then, right?
Well,
like say like the first Office when it came out, I think it was like 4 seasons or whatever, and then that was it. And then they had like Christmas specials and like other things with the characters. But I think it allows, I don't know why they do it like that, but I think it allows the characters that are popular or the actors who play popular characters to do more different things and like be in more shows. Like Ricky Gervais, for example, he broke out from the first Office.
Right. Well, also it doesn't really box you in if you're just like writing it and to what like Prag was saying, like they just write the show before anything else, so that they can go as long as they feel like it should.
To bring it back to Lost real quick, just to get into that example that you just said, they knew that the others existed. They knew that was a thing, but then they knew that others had a leader, but they didn't know who the leader was going to be. So when they cast, I forgot that guy's name, to play Ben Linus, he shined and he just blew him away, and they decided, let's make him the leader of the others. So if they had a defined structure, like, hey, 4 seasons or whatever, that wouldn't have allowed them to pivot and make him the leader. And he was arguably one of the best people on that show as far as character growth, his arc, the stuff he did that pissed you off, Wait,
I'm confused about what Prag said now. So wait, were you saying that they give the writers, they say write something that lasts 4 seasons, and
that's
then they
like around it? Oh, I thought you were saying pitch a show. I thought you were saying like they just write the show to their content, and they're like by the end of writing, they're like, no. This is a 5-season show. If you pitch a show to the BBC, you have to have the whole narrative established for how many seasons, and like maybe during the writing they'll do like lines that people say, or there'll be improv aspects to it, right? But they have the whole structure set.
Okay, then that is super boxed. Okay, so they're like, hey, make a show for us that's 4 seasons long, and they're like, okay, and then they just figure it out.
No, it's more like the writer says, I have a story. It happens to be 2 seasons long. It has to be 3 seasons long. And this is the story. And it's delivered like a play.
So they just write the story on their own and then find someone who wants to put it on TV.
Maybe they write it with somebody or whatever, but it's basically it's not just like, oh, we're going to make it up as we go along like they do in the US a lot of the time, where like every week they're writing for the next week. Like they don't know what they're going to write every time.
I'm sure there's been instances too where like the writers were like ready to wrap up, but the producers are like, dude, this show is too big. We got to keep going, make something up. And then they like write themselves into a corner because they're like ready to end, but they're making too much money. So they have to keep going, and it ruins the show as a result.
Yeah, because BBC is a nonprofit, right? It's owned by the British government. It's kind of like PBS in a way, where they can make money, but it's not the onus. Like, I guess, but NBC has to make more money every year to keep, the prices.
Yeah, so if a show is doing really well, and then they just like force the writers to keep going, even though the writers were like ready to end.
It's like, well, Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities was going really well, but we don't need to keep adding chapters to it because the story was good because the way it ended. Like we get into the problem with like Game of Thrones, where they fuck up the ending and they fuck up 2 whole seasons because they're trying to chase the cash cow, and they're just like adding stuff, and the author doesn't really know how to do it. If you had just ended it at a place where it was well situated, then people would be more pleased.
For Game of Thrones, wasn't the problem with that is they were writing an ending for something that didn't exist yet?
Yeah, and like they kept waiting for the George R.R. Martin to finish the book, but then at some point he decided, well, I like to have the shows more than the books because for whatever reason, and so he got more involved in writing the show. But then the showrunners, you know how it goes. It just got weird.
Game of Thrones was a unique situation too because first of all, you had they outpaced the books by a lot, so there was that whole weird situation. Yeah. Then there was the fact that the Benny and whatever, the people that were writing Game of Thrones, the two big
Benny and the
people.
Jets.
The showrunners.
So what are their names? But whatever. But they also got sick of the show themselves, and they wanted to move on. So they wanted to like wrap it up. On top of that too, so
Did they get sick of it because they didn't like it, or they're just done writing it? They just didn't want to write it.
They were ready to move on. I think
they probably got some crazy
themselves.
money thrown at them to make other shows, which is usually what happens. Like with Noah Hawley, who does Fargo and Legion and all kinds of really good TV shows, they just throw big money at them.
I've heard Legion is really good.
Legion's fantastic. I love Noah Hawley. I think he's the best writer of TV around, and anything that he wrote, it's going to be a trip. It's going to be a very interesting. Legion's like 3 seasons. That might be a show as a good example where they pre-wrote it and said this is going to end at this point, right? Because it has a very well-structured beginning, middle, and end to the story.
It's based on X-Men too.
Yeah, and I like that Noah Hawley has like started working with John Hamm and everything that he does, because John Hamm's, I don't know if you've seen Mad Men, but he's an amazing. And he does the narration for Legion, and he does Bad Guy in the new season of Fargo, which is phenomenal. It's just, he is the baddest bad sheriff of all time. You got to see it.
John Hammond's a bad guy, huh? I get
okay, episode
bad
3.
boy too.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. In perpetuity, Petey tells Mark that mysterious benefactors help them undergo reintegration procedure. While Mark is at work, his sister Devin and brother-in-law Rickon deliver a book authored by the latter to his doorstep, which Mrs. Selvig, played by Patricia Arquette, steals and takes to Lumen to check for hidden messages. Okay, what do you guys think of the brother-in-law?
The brother-in-law is hilarious.
Rickon? Yeah, he's hilarious. And I'm going to have Craig play his character when we do the Twitch
live
adaptation. Yeah, the live action. I love the Page Boy haircut, the Prince Valiant haircut, right?
It's crazy because it's just, he says so much without saying anything, and there's so many people around him that are just like buying his bullshit, and it's hilarious to me.
What do you mean? Because he's a self-help guru. But he's not a bad guy, right? Usually they make those guys bad guys in this, and it's interesting they decided to make him like a fun self-help guru kind of.
Yeah, because he's I think later in the season they do like a little montage where he's narrating stuff that he says in his book while Mark is reading the passages from his book, and it's just none of it makes any sense. It's just so everything is, it's not even surface level things. It's way above the surface. It's just out there. But for a regular person like us watching it, we're just laughing because it's so absurd, the things he's saying. While you have these people, the innies that don't know anything, essentially, they're hidden off from the world, and they're just reading these passages, and it's so profound to them because they don't know anything. And it's just crazy that this is the awakening for all of them.
Who do you think Rickon plays in this, Toaster? What do you think his role is?
I think he's kind of like at least in the early episodes, he's kind of like a tool for to like kind of express Adam Scott's character's frustrations with like how the normies, I guess, see the Severance thing, because there's like a lot of like friction about him. Like, wasn't there like a scene where he like fights one of the protesters or something, or like argues with someone on the street?
Right. Yeah.
Protesting against the Severance procedure. So he's just, at least in the early episodes, that's his role, I guess. I forgot, but what does he do later on though? Does he take a backseat after the first?
He's like a wizard. He's like telling the main characters like, oh, maybe this is happening. He's like a benevolent, ethereal character.
Weird. I remember like doesn't the final episode, the like season finale, they're like a house party. Okay.
Yep. On screen.
See, I need a recap. I need a recap now. So,
well, if you look at the screen, you'll see some of the scenes with.
What does he do? What does he do in those later episodes? He plays a bigger role? I think
they're still developing his character, and I don't think it's done. But I feel like he's like a little. If you read a complicated book and there's like a little notes that somebody made for you to help guide you, I feel like he's sort of a guide as far as the ethereal, spiritual side of the show.
Also,
Cliff Noter, like.
Is it the first episode?
You Are Here, A Spiritual Journey is the name of his book, right? So you're here in this place, but like, are you?
No, the name of the book is The You Are. That's what it's. That's
The
what it's
you
called.
are. Why did I just see that on the screen?
It
And I
could be.
just
It
read
could be
it.
underneath it, yeah, or something.
The you are. So it's playing on the fact that they don't really know who is the drone and who's the clone, and this could be all happening in a bifurcated mind. Like this could be all something happening in a psychiatric hospital in their mind, right? I hope they don't do that and do the whole "it was all a dream" joint, but it's possible.
It's what's interesting too is, Mark comes off as a very. I mean, obviously he's troubled with his wife that passed away, and he's still dealing with that. Obviously, it's taken a major toll on him. It leads him to drink and whatnot. But aside from that, he seems like a guy that just knows his things. He's a decent, rational looking dude. And his sister is like the same way, but his sister is with Rickon, so it's kind of just like it doesn't really fit. It's almost like she's humoring this lovable idiot, you know. Which now that I said that out loud, that makes me feel like I'm the lovable idiot in my relationship.
I
God
mean,
damn
it
it!
could very well be. You
God
could be
damn
the
it!
Rick in your relationship,
Okay,
right?
I think I am the Rickon son of a bitch.
You're just
I'm
like
remembering
you are where you are, and this is where we're staying.
in like one of the early episodes, there's like the dinner party that like Adam Scott's sister like drags him to with like the Rickon guy and all of his this scene that we're seeing
Yeah.
with and all of his friends that are like prying
And they
about
start
the Severance thing.
discussing, I think, the severance thing.
And then but his sister's just like, okay, just bear with me, just tolerate him. I know he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And that's how Craig dressed at TwitchCon too, with the turtleneck and the Scotty vest, same outfit.
He looked great.
So I mean, I feel like Rickon is dropping wisdom every scene he's in. Like he's the wisdom giver, right?
I mean, he's a very comical character.
Make
He's
him
fun.
accessible.
He's fun to laugh at, but he is very important to the show.
Yeah, he is.
Wait. Okay, so besides like okay, so all I remember of him is he's like you laugh at him because he's like stupid and ridiculous. But like where does the significance come in? Because that's what I forgot.
So he writes the book The You Are, which is again hilarious to say out loud. And he gives I think he gives a signed copy to Mark, and Mark reads it, but it's just ridiculous. And like I said, it doesn't mean anything to a regular person. But then the innies get a hold of it and they read it, and it's just it, like I said, it unlocks something, and it makes them realize there's just more out there.
That's right. I forgot about that.
It kind of it's like later in the series when they cross over, it's almost like bridging that gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually like hilarious. I forgot about that whole thing.
He's
where they
the
get the book.
ferryman.
It's like the
The
secret
ferryman.
book that
Okay,
they try to
yeah.
hide.
Yeah, he's the ferryman. You put 2 coins on the eyes of the dead, and the ferryman picks them up and takes them to the other world. And maybe they're in a limbo right now. Maybe they all died, and this is a limbo. But I don't think they would do that because it would be too close to what Lost did.
Yeah.
And
But
also,
that's definitely the vibe.
These people, the innies, the people that are working in the office, they're like living in this mysterious fantasy world where like they don't know what's going on, but they're like starting to ask questions, and then this book falls into their lap, and it's like blowing their minds, making them question all these things. All of a sudden, they're like in the perfect vulnerable situation. It's like the timing's perfect for this book to fall into their laps, and it's stupid to us, but it's world shattering to them.
And then, so we're going to move into season 2 pretty soon. When does season 2 come out? Do we have a date certain for that?
January 25th.
January 25th, because there's a big.
Sorry, January 17th. January 27th.
Okay,
January 17th, 2025. Yeah.
There's a big cliffhanger right at the end of this season, right? Because
this is probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
You want to talk about it? Why don't you break it down for us? The cliffhanger. I have the screen. I have the episode guide up here. Do you want me to talk? Just read it. It's a long thing.
Okay, so we start to learn. I mean, throughout this whole season, we're learning about every character, all the innies, and their lives on the outside and everything like that. For the most part, there's some people that we don't really learn too much about, but we learn later in the series. and Mark being our central figure, he starts to kind of unlock things and realize there's something else going on out there. And then we start to learn that Helly isn't who she appears to be. And we glossed over the early part of Helly's journey. She's the newest member of this group of people down in Lumen, and she knows something's off. Nothing makes sense to her. Mark is kind of there to guide her there, but she just doesn't want any help or anything, and she wants to leave. And they tell her, okay, you can leave, whatever. And then every time she leaves, she comes right back, and it's because her Audi just keeps sending her back, because it's two but the one. So at one point she tries to kill herself, and they save her, but her Audi sends her right back. Doesn't she cut her finger or some shit like that? She does something that's
Yes.
crazy. Yeah, and then they send her back out, and then she comes right back in, and this was like crazy. She comes back in, and she sits down, and she watches a video filmed by her Audi telling her, you have to stay in there. I'm telling you to stay in there. You are not a person. You do not get a choice in this matter. If you don't stay in there, it's going to be a lot harder than you think it's going to be. So basically threatening her. Herself is threatening herself, which is it's like a foreign person is doing this to you, which is crazy. And then also,
But it could be just an AI model too. It could just be software doing it, right?
Yeah.
Tricking,
I mean,
tricksy.
They've explained all this. Whether or not they believe it is a different story, obviously. And then another person that we need to shout out. What's his name? Seth Milichik. That guy is a fantastic fucking actor.
Which guy is this now? Which one? Remind me.
He's the black guy.
Yeah. Okay.
That guy was I don't think I've seen him in anything else. He was amazing on the show. He's like the enforcer essentially,
right?
And he was pretty much like the enforcer. Whenever they got in trouble, he was the one that kind of like told them, like get back in line and stuff like that.
We did the break room.
Yeah. So
there he is, the enforcer.
Yeah,
he had the jazz party, and when they get awards for productivity, they come and get special pizza parties, and here we go.
He was scary, but then there were a lot of times where you just see him like this, and he just seemed like the coolest guy in the world. So like, I want to hang out with that guy, but he's frightening at the same time, because of the shit that he does.
He doesn't have to be, right?
Yeah. So yeah, so there's this other girl that you brought up, Daichin Lockman.
Daichin Lockman from Tibet. She plays the
wellness counselor.
Office, like the female version of Milchek, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. And she counsels them. It's like therapists. She's not as crazy as them.
Yeah, but like she's using it psychologically. She's not doing it with physicalness.
It's like kind of like almost like a little new agey kind of sort of. And she talks to all the other people too, and so we get towards the end and we realize that is Mark's wife that died in a car crash, but she's right there. So the Audi Mark thinks that she's dead, but the Innie Mark interacts with her almost on a daily basis.
And so doesn't know. Right?
He doesn't know, yeah. So in the last episode, the other character we fucking forgot to mention too. What's his name? Dylan? Yeah, Dylan. Zach Cherry plays Dylan. That guy was fucking awesome too.
He's like the
guy.
Nerdier guy. Like he's somebody who is definitely a nihilist, and like he's not trying to escape. He's trying to make the best of it, right? As opposed to Eddie's character, who's more of the existentialist, who's trying to like break the reins, and then everyone else is kind of in the middle.
Yeah. At one point in the show, he is able to get a glimpse of the Audi, and he sees that he has a son. And that just starts gnawing at him because he's like, there's something else out there. I have a son. I don't know about that. What's going on? So he gets mad. He attacks Milichik and turns into a whole thing. So with that determination and that level of just angst, that propels him at the very last episode to break into one of the forbidden areas in Lumen and basically bridge the gap between the indies and the outies. He's like almost holding two ends of a wire and being the conduit in the middle to keep the indies and the outies together. So he's doing that, and they have a brief window of time for all of them to experience the same consciousness at the same time as the outside and the inside. So the ins are now, they're the real people now. So they cross over. They're experiencing all these things. Mark is at the dinner party with his brother, Rickon, John Turturro's character, who was amazing again. You see him now in his real life. He goes to confront Christopher Walken's character because he knows he loves him, and he goes to that guy. Helly,
Yes.
we figure out that she is the daughter of the one who founded Lumen Industries. So she's actually
Lumen's a biotech company, right?
Yeah.
Biotech.
It's a medical company, yeah.
That's why you think maybe it's just like Invasion of the Body Snatchers vibe, like, right?
So her whole story, essentially, what you find out in that episode is she was sent in this thing as pretty much a proof of concept. Because there's a big gala that they show where it gives off super, which is funny because it's on Apple. It gives off super Apple vibes. Like all the pictures are very Apple stylized.
Yeah.
And
true.
Yeah, it's a whole presentation on how, hey, look, we did the whole Severance thing. It works. We know it works. To prove that we believe in it, I sent my own daughter into the program, and it works. So you have that thing, and she rebels, and is basically, once she crosses over, she starts yelling and saying like, there, there's torture down there, this and that, whatever, and everyone just doesn't believe her or laughs at her or whatever. But the final scene is Mark realizes, as he's in the Audi world now, he realizes that the counselor is his wife, so she's not dead. So once he sees the picture and he realizes that that's his wife, it's like a long slow motion. He's running to his sister. As he's running, Mr. Milichek finds Dylan as being the conduit to keep the two worlds together, and he just fucking tackles him to sever the connection. But right before he tackles him, the camera cuts real close, a real fucking tight shot on Adam Scott's face as he bursts into the room and just screams, "She's alive!" And then it just
becomes self-aware of one another.
And
all
then
the clone and the others become self-aware.
And then the connection is severed, essentially. And that's where the season ends at that point.
Is that a pretty good summary, Toaster?
This was like an emotional, like, last episode. It was crazy.
All right. Do we want to start talking about what our review is, and as far as like the direction and the scene, the sets and the costumes and the audio and the music? Do we like all of those things? I think they were excellent. I love the world building.
Maybe Toaster can answer this. What's the aesthetic?
Have you played the game Control?
I have not, no.
Okay, well that's the aesthetic, but carry on.
It's not the aesthetic. It's not the aesthetic.
I'll show you. Because it's an office. What do you think, Toaster? Do you like the?
Yeah.
Why do you like it?
It's The Office. Wait, what?
Why do you like the set of Severance? Do you like the world that they created?
The Office set.
The setting, like you're in the office,
like the
surreal office, and then do you think they did a nice job? You're right. This is nothing like Control. Okay.
I like I like how the Mr. character, he's supposed to be like, you know what he reminds me of the boss from Office Space.
Okay.
Like a different style of it.
Gary Cole's character?
I don't know the actor's name.
Is the boss? Yeah, okay.
He's the main guy. The main boss.
Where he's like doing everything by the books and kind of just really sterile and
Mm-hmm.
And then who's Milton if he's the boss? Who's Milton in this? You remember Milton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stapler.
Is that Zach Cherry? They have the most similar body shape. I guess that's what I'm going for.
It was created and directed by Ben Stiller, the comedian. right? But it's not overtly comedic, right? It's dramatic. And he did the same thing with his show Escape from Dannemora. There's funny things that happen in it, but it's very subdued, restrained comedy. And he's more interested in making a commentary on institutions and systems and how people interact with them and how people feel like they're two different people in their real lives, just like Time said earlier. Have you ever seen any other Ben Stiller directed films or shows, Toaster?
Wait, didn't he do? Wait, name some, because I must have, but it's been so long.
All right, let's get in it. Let's get in it. Ben Stiller. Now, Ben Stiller is the son of Jerry Stiller, who's a very famous comedian. And he was on King of Queens, if you remember him.
I remember.
And he was on Seinfeld a lot. Jerry Stiller, his
he was
dad.
in Zoolander too.
He's in Zoolander, yeah.
That's Ben Stiller, right? That's a different guy.
No,
That's his son.
He was also in,
he was? Oh, yeah, you're right. It was you're right. He was the
the agent, yeah.
Okay. And then let's see. Ben Stiller show, of course, on MTV. Like they gave him a whole ass variety show when he was like 20 something. Direction wise,
didn't he do
something
more serious movies
new for him?
More recently too.
Escape of Dannemora. What else? Severance. That's it. So he's had 2 bangers right off the jump.
What is this? Oh, Greenberg. Did he direct that?
Greenberg, yeah.
I remember that movie. It
wasn't great. It was okay. It was like a character study of like a funky college professor or something like that. Greenberg, right?
Something like that.
Filmography.
He only starred in it. He didn't do anything with it.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
He directed The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
You know, this movie, everyone hates this movie. There's this movie called Envy. It's Ben Stiller and Jack Black, and I love this movie. Has anyone ever heard of this movie?
No.
They create a thing you spray on dog poop, and it makes the poop disappear.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
And everyone hates this movie, but I love it. It has Christopher Walken in it too. Oh my god, it has Christopher Walken in it. Dude, we gotta watch this movie.
We should watch it on stream.
We gotta watch this movie.
Is it on Tubi?
It could be. But it's just this forgotten movie. But I think it's one of the greatest comedies of all time.
His biggest hit, I guess you could say. I mean, I think you definitely would say it, where he directed and produced and wrote it. Tropic Thunder.
Oh, you're right.
That's his baby. Directed, produced, and written.
Yep. And star.
And star.
I'm looking for more directing things, but it looks like he's not done anything since that. Obviously, he's doing season 2, so obviously he's busy with this. All right, is it time to rate? Are we want to put a cherry on this?
Did Ben Stiller have any hand in the writing of this show in Severance too, or did he just
no?
I'm sure.
Some input.
Let me see. Oh no, the guy who created this. Yeah, I don't see any writing credits for Ben Stiller.
It would be a production credit.
Yeah.
In TV, they tell you, in TV, a producer is a writer. In film, is usually the guy money who raises the money. That's how you know the difference between the producer.
You think he tells them anything? Like, you think he has
a director?
He's the director. Okay, so if the director's like act this way, and if that's like opposite to like the way it was written, do you think that's not
the job of the director? Is to coordinate all the different teams. Like you have a costume team, you have a set team, you have a music team, you have the actors who are a team, and you have the writers who are a team. So he has to go in all those worlds and like be there and say, okay, I like this and I like that.
Wait, so who? I guess it's the director's job, but I'll say,
does the director ever make any like calls like that, like changes the writing?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
The director is the boss. The director is the final say on everything.
So in a sense, he is kind of a writer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
He's a writer on the fly.
Involved. Maybe he has a bunch of guys he trusts, and he's like, okay, this is the writing room, but also I'm going to dip in there, and they know him and shit like that type shit.
The guy who created the show, Dan Erickson, he has like no writing credits, which is crazy. He created a short film, and then he made a lip sync battle show for Spike. And that's literally
what happened. I bet he bought it. I bet Ben Stiller liked the short. He had the script, and then he bought it, and then he just totally and so you have to give him a creator credit in the contract or something. But I doubt he worked on it. Well, but I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
The short is something completely different, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he had a script that he was shopping, and then sometimes they'll buy the script and give you a creator credit, even though you're not involved anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who created it only wrote the first 2, or the first, second, and last episode.
Interesting. Yeah, he could have had a full ass script, and then they could have bought it, like Apple bought it and then assigned Ben to it with a big contract, like, and then they kind of mix and match. All right. So we're at the hour mark. Do we want to give our final opinions of Severance, or do you guys want to cook more?
Final opinions? Well,
yeah.
Let's
put a cherry on it.
I mean, it's just season 1, so I want to leave it open a little bit.
We're just reviewing season 1. We don't have to, just that context of it.
Okay, so it got, in my opinion, it got a little bit out of control at the end. I know it was emotional. It was like, crazy. And I think for the most part, I don't really have any complaints about like continuity or like plot holes or anything that I remember. So that's a big plus, especially for a show as inherently convoluted as a show like this. So that's good. We'll see. I still have a big question. Yeah.
Do you think at any point in the show was it too hard to follow or too confusing?
No, I don't think it was ever too confusing.
Okay.
Which I guess is that's good. I had a big blast watching it. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Season 1.
What's the color?
Actually, 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10. What color do you see when you close your eyes?
Actually, you know what? I'll do 8. I'll do 8.
8.
Yeah.
And what color? What's your review color?
Review color. Let me close my eyes. Hold on.
Close your eyes, everyone. Close your eyes.
I'm seeing sparkles. I'm seeing some sparkles.
Sparkles.
All right, we'll just call it glitter.
Glitter. Yeah.
The color I have is eggshell, and I give this show a 7.8 or 78 out of 100, depending on your scale. And I enjoyed it very much. It was I liked, it's like I wanted to know what's happening. Sometimes these shows, if they're not well orchestrated, you don't care why. And that's when they fail and you just stop watching. But if you like the characters enough and it's enough interesting things are happening, then you want to keep turning the page. And I definitely got this from the show. And I'm looking forward to season 2. Time?
Did you give it a rating?
78
78
out of 100.
Eggshell.
And eggshell is the color.
Eggshell, okay. My color would be like the green on a golf course. But the putting green, like that.
Kelly green.
Kelly green, yeah. Ooh,
that's Kelly green.
Kelly green, okay. That's
perfect.
That's the best version of the Oakland A's jersey, by the way. Kelly green.
I know it is.
Yeah, shout out. Rest in peace, Oakland A's. Yeah.
I used to know the fucking owner of the A's. Guy, what's his name? Guy
Fieri?
Part owner? No. I'll tell you later off stream. Go ahead. Okay. Please continue. I'm sorry.
I would give this... I love the show. I don't think I've ever been so enthralled in a show since Lost. Like this. 90. That's at least a 90.
90.
I thought the performances of the show were amazing. There's so many shows I watch where I'll see a specific person that I don't care for, or like, character's dumb. I loved every character in this. Even Rickon. I fucking love Rickon. He's great. It was so emotional, like just digesting this last episode at the time, and then talking about it with Flame about how Dylan sacrificed himself because he's obviously going to get punished for what he did, just to let Mark figure out that his wife is still alive and all stuff. It was just so like emotional and crazy, and just like, I mean, the ultimate sacrifice that they could give in that world, that he exists in.
He was the Christ.
He was the Christ
of this world.
He was the chubby Christ.
He gave his life maybe for furtherance of everyone
for his
else.
Only son. He sacrificed his life, and he has a son. So it's like that. But yeah, I absolutely loved everything about the show. The setting, the music, everything. I loved it so much.
Yeah, and I think the world building was great, and that's what I consider the costumes, the sets, and the music, because it felt lived in. And I like when they went home, like those places were real cozy. Like all the houses were lit in a way that's normal for a home. Like sometimes you'll see it looks very static or like not real when you watch TV, but I really enjoyed it. Toaster, did you have fun tonight? And second question, would you come back for the review of Severance season 2?
Yeah, you better believe it. I'll be back for season 2.
Did you have a nice time?
It was fun. I like hanging out with my buddies and talking about
Did I talk too much? Did I talk too much tonight?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Time, don't you think I laid off? I think I gave a lot of more space than normal tonight.
No, you did.
I don't believe
you
that.
Did great. You did great, Prag.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run AI on these shows, and we're going to analyze the amount of talking.
Amount of talking.
Because I think you're going to find that it's more balanced than you think.
No,
and
I
I
think
just am more
you
gregarious.
talked a good amount of time. It's just the derailment is there still.
The side quests.
Sidebars. Yeah.
I love a side quest, right?
Because
it
Craig,
really.
I noticed that you were trying not to talk as much at a certain point, and
Mhm.
that in and of itself was really uncomfortable for me. So I think you're in a spot now.
What happens?
Yeah, you got yourself in a position. You got yourself in a position where you're just fucked every which way.
Yeah, because I'm like, I have no
can't find the
confidence
middle ground.
anymore. This is what they do. They steal my confidence. And it's not my enemies, it's my friends. And then the show fails because then I don't know what to do anymore. Go ahead, Tom.
We've had this discussion before with Prag, where it's you tell him whatever, and then at a certain point, when you're talking to him, I always say the same thing. You can't reel him back in because then he's not Prag.
You gotta, You don't want to lose the spirit of the horse, right? You got to break the horse, but not lose the spirit.
Right. You met Prag. You love Prag for a certain way. You love him despite all his flaws. And then when you neuter him, it's not the same person, and it's a balancing act.
You can tell when he's like trying to restrain himself, and he's so defeated because there's such a part of him that wants.
That's what they want.
He just wants to be himself.
So that's what I've figured out is
no, this is good. Please,
how you navigate it is you're not the victim. He is. So you have to change your ways. That's what I've learned over the course of this year and a half or 2 years of us being friends. That
our lives revolves around Prag. Now.
Right. Yeah. So if you tell him not to talk, he's not going to talk, and then it's going to be so bad, it's going to be uncomfortable and all stuff.
Yeah,
but if you let him cook, you have to force your way in there. You have to be the dominant one. You have to slap him around a little bit, and then it works. But then there's going to be days where you're in a funk or you're just in a bad mood or you're tired or whatever. And then you feel like he's pushing you around, but he's just being the same Prag.
Just say something nice now too, just to put something on top of that.
He's a very lovely human being. Like I don't think I've ever met a nicer person than Pragpro in IRL, honestly.
And I don't talk as much IRL though, right?
He does. He's a completely different person IRL, which is hilarious.
This is a show, guys. This is a show. This is a TV show. Toaster, go ahead.
Something nice about Prag.
Three things.
But I think one of the most valuable qualities in a person is someone who can take it as well as they can dish it. And Prag is a wonderful. He's a great sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he knows how to go both ways.
Confident. It's about self-confidence.
And, a lot of people out there they like to be they like the banter, and they like to be they like to play the part of the agitator. But then when you try to agitate them, they get weird and
they get crazy.
And that's not fun. And Prag's never Prag, you can banter with Prag all day. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was beautiful. I'm just going to leave it there. You don't have to come up with 2 other things right now. That's perfect. But listen, I sometimes try to be the engine for everything that we're doing when I don't have to be. Because there's plenty of little engines now, and I wouldn't have worked with the group of people I'm working with if I didn't see all of you guys had your own engine. And so I need to throttle my shit back a lot now, and as I get more comfortable knowing what you guys can do and what you guys can handle. And what you guys can do and handle is a lot more than I think every day. You guys are always like overcoming, like for example, Time did the Christopher Walken
impression
accent. It was perfect. It's like when I didn't know if when Time Goes to Waste could do improv and shit when we first started, and he killed it. And it's like stuff like what Toaster does is just like, I feel so comfortable with Toaster. I feel like I can make whatever joke I want, and he's not going to get irritated. He understands where I'm coming from, and that it's all love, and we're trying to make big things for everyone. And the other thing is, guys, if I'll listen to you guys, but if other people who are not making shows with me, I can't be bothered, because like you guys are important because we're making something for each other. But it's like if you let the audience nitpick, you'll make nothing ever. We can read it out.
We're gonna read it right now. We talked about that last night on Lance's stream before you got in there, talking about making all these shows and just bullshitting. And then we're like, oh, Prag's gonna be in this show, he's gonna be in this show, he's gonna be in this show. And then Taz said, let's make a show without Prag. Let's all be in a show without Prag. And it's funny, and you know, and I
I'll help you make that show.
told him,
I help you know.
I told him in chat, I was like, you know what? It's funny, and it's like almost like making fun of Prag. It's like, oh, he's not in the show. Nothing would make Prag more happier than all of us banding together to make a show.
Yeah. No, I love it.
That's
And
all
I'll
he
help
wants is
you.
all of us to succeed.
Yeah, because I just want to help. Exactly. That's
Mhm.
true. I just want everyone to be happy. And I think happiness is key to that is making art and doing your own thing. And like you guys have your day-to-day shit that you have to deal with, but this is a place to play and have fun, but also be productive.
Mm.
And I think that's a good thing. And I think we're growing a lot as a community as we go. And all you guys are like, I love you guys. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You guys are my family, not you, Toaster.
Time.
Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
And
Appreciate
seal
it.
with a kiss.
Seal with a
Are
kiss.
we going to raid somebody? Who are we going to raid?
We're gonna raid this guy. I don't know if we've never raided him before, but I don't think he's that great of a streamer. But we're gonna raid him anyways.
I'm gonna be calling in. I'm gonna
He
try
needs
to call in too.
he needs. Are you gonna call in?
I'm gonna try. Yeah.
Call in. We're raiding Leslie Tanner. We love
Oh,
Leslie here.
shit. We love Leslie.
Leslie
He's my fucking
is
spirit
fucking
animal.
great. If you want to
You shout him
show
out.
that's something unlike anything you've seen, especially on Twitch, definitely Leslie Tanner.
And Leslie has been instrumental in helping us create everything I've worked on here, for sure. Behind the scenes, talking to him. What do you think about this? What do you think about that?
I would
I'm an
not
ABBA.
I would not
And
be
so
where
many-
I am without Leslie Tanner.
I look up to these guys. These guys have been doing it, and I always ask them, like, if I want to try to do something new, like, what do you guys think about that? Blah blah blah. And I listen to him like it's a Bible.
He's the guru.
He is a guru for a second. All right, thank you guys for watching. Go watch Leslie.
Review episode.
Say hi to Leslie. Tell him the grandma sent you. Appreciate it.
Tell him about the grandmas.
Go talk to the guru.
We have to book Leslie on the show, right?
Go say hi to the guru. Yeah, we have to.
And we have
do
to
that.
book him. Let him review a movie. We'll book him way in advance so he has time.
Toaster,
I'll
that was
let
my,
him pick the movie.
Toaster, that was my Wiki Wiver impression.
That's good. That's good.
Was that pretty good, huh?
This is good. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
what's going on, guru?
Hey, guru. It's
Hey,
Wiki
guru.
River.
It's Wiki Wiver. Way down, way
You should do that. You gotta call in and do that.
Bye,
You
bye,
have
bye,
so
bye,
much
bye, bye.
funny shit. All right, we're out.
Nice.
Nice, boys. Did you have a good time?